Welcome everyone to the Decoded channel. Tonight it's the first DeFi Decoded on stream. It's gonna be awesome. And our guest tonight is Belak from Giga DAO, the legend, Belak. And Ash from Divine Dogs, who is going to MC DeFi Decoded like the usual. Because bro, you're doing that so well. So we're just doing that on stream now.
Let's go, man.
How are you guys doing?
Awesome, man. I got to switch it up with the merch this time. I got the Solana.
Oh, that's dope.
Hacker House, Austin Hacker House.
Nice.
Had to represent that merch.
Yeah, and like the Divine Dog hat, right?
Yeah, with the Divine Dogs hat, with the Genesis logo. I got to get a new one with the updated one for sure.
Belak, do you have any merch for Giga DAO? Belak? I lost you.
Sorry, guys. Okay. I'm here. That was my bad. Not yet, though. People have actually been asking about it. So when we're ready to get to that stage, we'll definitely kick that off.
Okay, I want my hoodie, please.
Yeah, I definitely need a hoodie as well.
Okay, Ash, make the magic happen. It's all you.
Welcome everybody. This is DeFi Decoded, where it is Divine Dogs and our decoders come together to kind of demystify what DeFi is, especially for the Solana majority. It can be very frustrating and very complex for a lot of people, and so we love to bring in amazing projects like Belak from Giga DAO to kind of break it down for everybody and show the amazing things that they are doing, because a lot of these DeFi projects are doing great, amazing things, but simply some people just might not understand or might not get it. So it's awesome having Belak here, man. Belak, go ahead and just introduce yourself and how Giga DAO is, man. I know there's a lot to talk about. We were just talking about before the stream started how we had our talk when Giga DAO was under 5,000 followers, and now it's like 22K or something like that.
Yeah.
The growth, man.
Massive growth, absolutely. Yeah, my name's Belak. I'm the co-founder of Giga DAO. Thank you guys for having me here. Really happy to be back. I've spoken to both of you in the past. It's been great, and I'm really excited to be here today. So Giga DAO was founded back in February 2022 with my business partner Alpha Prime. He and I basically just grind our little hearts away. Alpha is the brain behind the code, and I am the brain behind the business side and business management of everything else. Yeah, we've been building now for over a year and a half. Alpha and I first met each other back at the end of 2021, and he was living in Southeast Asia, and I just picked up my stuff and moved there, and we're just grinding it out now. But yeah, we've created GigaDex, which is the first crankless decentralized order book on Solana. We're very proud to be the first and deployed it to mainnet back in November 2022. So we're currently building out potentially one of Solana's fastest supercharged order book exchanges.
Yeah, man, it's been talking with you guys and seeing the development before you guys launched. I just remember hearing how key it was for you guys to have, the fast DEX, on Solana, and in that development process, it seems like that is what took the majority of it, because you had to build that order book from scratch. So how was that process like? It seemed like it was extremely stressful for you guys, and because it was such an emphasis for it to be such a streamlined and smooth experience, because obviously that's what Solana is, but you guys even kind of going to the next level with that kind of truly shows your care for that DeFi and how it can be the most smoothest possible on Solana.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the process to get to the order book itself was not as difficult as what a lot of people think it is. It honestly, Alpha and I were sitting down, I think at like 8 a.m. after a 24-hour sprint, smoking a cigarette and drinking a coffee. We neither of us smoke anymore. We've had a big change since then, but you know, we like sleep deprived, talking about this, like how are we actually going to break into the market and make some real money. And he just said to me, like, I think I could probably make a crankless order book. And I'm just like, yeah, like if you can do that, that would be huge. He's like, yeah, I think I can. And 4 days later, he deployed the crankless order book, and it worked flawlessly
Wow.
almost right away. So the order book itself, like Alpha is a genius, a madman also in this in the Web3 industry at all. And our speed stream allows for data to be transferred across users' computers within 200 milliseconds or 400 milliseconds of the transaction going through. So it's the challenge was not the order book. The challenge was the infrastructure around it to support it. And that's definitely been the number one thing for us, is making sure that yes, we have the fastest and most stable order book on Solana right now, but do we have the infrastructure that can truly bring a real centralized experience in a decentralized finance world?
Hmm. For people who don't know, what is the big deal around having a crankless order book?
Yeah, well, I mean, the biggest deal is the reduction in instructions to place an order. So, you know, when using a centralized exchange, you press a button and it's basically instant. And that's because they're running their own servers and they're not having to go through the blockchain. But the downside of that is it's centralized. And like we saw with FTX, that can lead to a lot of problems. So as soon as you have a centralized order book, you open yourselves up to vulnerabilities and security, and you've really got to trust the people that are hosting it. And the big thing about creating the crankless order book, you know, Serum was great in their first implementation of a crank order book, and they kind of brought that over from Ethereum, and it worked really well. It boosted the whole DeFi economy within Solana. But the amount of instructions required to place those orders is around 2 to 3. And so when you're placing an order using the Serum order book or Open Book Now, it takes around 2 seconds for it to process. And because of that, you get failed transactions. And as we all know, if a coin is pumping and you're swapping on Jupiter, um, it's a failed transaction for the first 20, and all of a sudden you lose your entry price, and you don't get the same speed and the same experience as you would get on a centralized exchange. So by removing that crank and created a crankless order book, we have enabled a single instruction, one transaction, 400 milliseconds to place your order, which means that users that are trading through the UI, or quant traders that are trading through the APIs, are going to be able to secure their entry and exit when they put that order through. So there's more opportunity to scale a decentralized exchange now, because people are actually able to get their entries. And if you ever use Mango Markets, which I did, I would often lose my entry because their infrastructure wasn't good enough, and I basically would start losing money. And there's a whole other thing there, but not having that stable, fast infrastructure in place halts and stops real smart money from coming into the decentralized world. And now that we've actually created that and implemented that, the last thing we need now is that final execution to really bring decentralized finance into a potential mainstream realm.
Yeah, so I mean that's huge. I mean, what the biggest thing I got out of this is that you are bridging, or excuse me, shortening the competitive advantage that a centralized exchange has on decentralized exchanges through the shortening of these transactions. So you can actually have a competitive advantage and compete with these centralized exchanges traders. Wow, I wonder eventually one day will these where we optimize these order books so much that they'll even be faster, obviously depending on the blockchain, be faster than some of these centralized exchange traders.
Well, I mean, GigaDex trades as fast as Binance right now.
Wow.
Yeah, so like that competitive edge is already there. The other competitive edge is it's completely decentralized, and as soon as we start to open source, we have a completely trustless ecosystem where code is truth. And because Anchorlang and you can have your Rust smart contracts anchor verified, people can actually check those smart contracts. They can see that this order book, this speed stream, it's all anchor verified. They can see the Git repo it came from, and they know that their funds are always going to be safe. Layer that with an upgrade authority that no single person or no group of people can make any unilateral changes on that, on any of those smart contracts, means that smart money can come in and know where their money is at all times, and know that they can never have situations like FTX happen again. So it's decentralized finance is always going to be a path to the future. And we immediately recognized that when FTX happened last year, and said we need to capitalize on this right now and start that journey to try and be those people in 5 years' time, be the next Binance, but in DeFi.
Yeah, you truly get the best of both worlds, right? With GigaDex's order book, you get the safety and security of decentralized exchange while having the speed and competitive edge of a centralized exchange. That's awesome. We're breaking it down like that. Is like there's no this. It just shows how huge that development was. And so kind of going into because you mentioned how it's open source. That's kind of goes into another one of y'all's ethos of developing kind of a fostering community for different Solana DeFi developers to build upon this deck. So this was order book, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the moment, we haven't open sourced the order book itself because we do need to establish the product in the market first. But absolutely, once we get to that point, it will be open source, and other people will be able to build on top. Currently, they can build on top. We do have our APIs available, not as clean as I would have liked them to be, but it's absolutely there, so people can build up their own exchanges, and utilize our order book for that.
That's incredible, man. And it kind of goes into, it's funny, you say that alpha is, the big brain behind all the code, but obviously you're very tech savvy in everything in Solana and the technical aspects that go in behind that. What, kind of going back a little bit, what is your kind of personal backstory around not only Giga DAO, but kind of what you were doing when you met Alpha and everything like that that's led you to be this tech savvy and know what you wanted to create this technology that's obviously.
Oh, I'm just an autist, man.
You said what? Sorry.
I'm just an autist. Like there's nothing that can contribute to. I mean, I like to say about myself, and this isn't me being conceited in any way, but you know the movie Slumdog Millionaire, where he's sitting down and he's answering all these questions. It's like a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire style, and he's getting all these questions correct because his previous history, he had all these stories that led him to know the answer to that question. Like that's how I see myself. I didn't study to be here. This isn't what I strive for 10, 15 years ago. But I've had so many different experiences with business, managing people, understanding technology, and I've studied a lot of different things that I'm now in a place where all of a sudden, all of my previous history and my past self can contribute to everything I'm doing right now. And so I may not be an absolute expert at everything, but I feel like my almost my entire life has prepared me for this moment to truly bring Giga DAO where it needs to be, and also harness what Alpha has to give to the world. I tell him constantly, like, my only job right now is to make sure that your code and your genius gets to where it needs to be. And so he and I just have this perfect synergy where we work really well. We both fully believe in each other and fully believe that this is where we're meant to be right now, and this is what we're meant to be doing.
On your path.
Yeah, that's
That's
really
cool.
incredible, man. So it sounds like that you just had this like kind of culmination of different experiences and people that you've been around that's kind of just made you into the person that you've you've ended up being and be able to lead Giga DAO like this and like you said foster alpha into making the platform and the decks that he wants to create.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
when I first met Alpha, it was after the entire COVID experience, and I was looking to get out of Australia. I needed to do something else. He was living in Southeast Asia, and I just said, "Look, let's go for it. I'm going all in on you. Let's work together and make this happen." And together, we'd like, in the last year and a half, we've come up with at least 8 or 9 different technologies. We've built out at least 5 of them. A lot of them haven't seen the light of day because we just keep working, and it's like a painter will paint 10 paintings until he's finally happy with the 11th one to give to the world, but the first 10 are perfectly fine. But it was always about trying to find that product market fit. Um, and just work towards something that's going to end up with us on an island one day, enjoying the rest of our lives and doing whatever we want. Um, it's been a very interesting journey, and I don't think I could have done it without Alpha, and same vice versa. He couldn't have done the things today without me there. We bounce off each other really well to the point where we're just inventing incredible things on our 4-hour phone calls, uh, and give us what we need, and we'll make it happen.
That's cool. That's
That's awesome.
how the best team are made of, right? Complementary
Mm.
skills and stuff. That's cool. Yeah, just to cut everyone right now, I fucked up like the stream link and I sent the stream to the wrong one. I tried to fix it. So now like the public stream on the channel is correct, but in the tweet it's not correct. So like the whole videos is basically, I will delete that. We are live on another link on the channel. Sorry about that. I fucked up the first stream. I don't know if it's I select the wrong link on OBS or if OBS betrayed me, but I had multiple live created and fucked up the selection. So yeah. But yeah, if you want to watch on Decoders, it's available. So yeah, it's fine. Just had to edit the description and stuff. But other than that, yeah, sorry about that, guys. And it's recorded, so I can upload the full episode anyway. That's fine.
Oh, good, man. Just a little bit of technical difficulties.
Yes,
It's
happened
happened to us plenty of times before on this
yes.
show.
Sorry, but like,
No, you're right. These things happen.
yes, the space is up and running. That's perfect. At least we have that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do I need to repost a different link anywhere? Or the Twitter Spaces is good. It's just
that's
the
fine. Yeah,
Decoders
Twitter
link.
space,
Okay.
Twitter space, it's fine. Like we have a bit of ground here anyway, so it's fine. We have the audience.
Gotcha.
So, Bella, when excuse me, I realized that. So the entire time I've always called you Belloc, but it's Beloc, correct?
Belak. Yeah.
Belak.
Yeah. I mean, everyone says it differently. It's absolutely fine.
French accent.
Belak. Belak is a nickname that I was given when I was much younger. It's got a terrible backstory, and it's a nickname I actually tried to get rid of because of the history of it.
Oh.
But I then introduced my group of friends to my brother, and he adopted that and spread it. So no one in the real world actually calls me my real name. Everyone just calls me Belak now. Even my mum and dad call me Belak.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's mass adoption, bro.
It's just stuck.
Yeah, you fostered it and embraced it in Web3 too, man. You're going worldwide with Belak.
Let's go.
That's awesome,
Mr.
man.
Worldwide.
So when checking out your doc slide, it mentions a lot about the concept of a central limit order book. Can you tell kind of everybody in the audience what is a central limit order book and what's kind of different from a standard order book?
Well, I mean, it's the same thing, a club, right? Central limit order book is an order book. In terms of like explaining that, there's a lot to unpack there because, you know, one thing I did not realize when we first started this endeavor, and I didn't find out until halfway through, is Solana has no idea what an order book is. Users in Solana have never placed a limit order before. They've never traded using an exchange. Like a lot of people have, but I'll tell you, most of the people haven't. And I didn't realize that. And then looking into the history of Solana, I now understand that the reason why that hasn't happened for the majority of users within Solana is because liquidity pools and swaps came in to replace struggling infrastructure, which was the Serum order book. Though it does work, it's not good enough for the masses to be trading on failed transactions all the time. And so liquidity pools and swaps was introduced, and that's how people know how to trade. Like that's trading for them, right? They'll look at a chart somewhere else and they'll go to Jupiter and just spam that swap button until it goes through. And I didn't realize the implications of that after a year, especially with Solana going from such a small amount of wallets in like 2020, early 2021 to bursting to 8 million plus a day. There's the worst part about having a central limit order book in this ecosystem is also the educational piece I now have to start providing to Solana users. But to give you a quick wrap up of what is an order book and why it's important is instead of just swapping at a market price, you can start to make more comprehensive and more analytical trades by placing orders when you want to buy in or when you want to sell. And it's actually funny because there isn't an order book solution in Solana right now that's comprehensive enough to do that. People are just trying to swap at market price, and they're not placing a limit order to sell their tokens at the best price. They're just trying to swap constantly. But if they went over to the Serum order book, they could place a limit order and it would get fulfilled almost right away. So while there's 5,000 people smashing that swap button, all you have to do is go to the open book or Serum order book and place a limit order and sell it. And it would go through right away and you get the price you want. So the power of placing limit orders far outweighs the power of swaps. And it's an educational piece that we need to start bringing into this space because everyone's losing their exit point or their entry point because they're trying to swap and it's failing. And it's very interesting. And I think the psychology behind it is also pretty interesting as well. I think that there's a real opportunity to educate and bring this space to where it needs to be. The execution on that needs to be done carefully, and that's kind of what I'm working on now is how we're going to approach and re-educate the Solana users on how to use that order book and the power of limit orders, the power of market orders. But I think we got it in hand. It's going to be an interesting one. Difficult, absolutely, but I'm confident that we're going to be able to kind of reshape the Solana users, upgrade them a bit more so they know how to harness the power of decentralized finance.
Yeah, that's now what I'm thinking about as you were talking is like, yeah, I have not placed a limit order since I was on Coinbase Pro, like in 2021. Like that's the last time I placed a limit order because you're right. I've never placed a limit order on any type of decentralized exchange or basically interacted with an order book, right? Any type of DEX. It's always swapping, always hopping over to Jupiter and just that's trading. But I'm in general not a big trader guy, so that might be one of my downfalls as well with that. And so
it really depends on when you entered the space, right?
Yeah.
Because when I entered back in 2017, I think that's when Binance or start of 2018 is when they started introducing converting, which is technically a swap for us. But before then, it was all order book and exchange trading. So for me, like it's natural, and I assumed it was the same for everyone else. But after Binance started that trend, and obviously Solana had to adopt it because of the infrastructure, it's just a standard that people swap. And it's nothing on those people. I think it's just the lack of infrastructure that's been provided that's kind of prevented people from having the power of understanding how to really utilize crypto trading and make it more profitable for themselves. Like during that bonk mania, no one was able to get an exit point. Everyone was swapping at exactly the same time, and people were losing money. You could have easily just gone onto any order book exchange and placed a limit order and got the exit that you wanted.
On Bridge, they have that, no? The Bird Eye, Bird Eye. Yeah, Bird Eye. They don't have the limit orders?
I mean, they have limit orders into Serum now. Yeah, they do.
Oh, yeah. Okay, but no one uses it at the bonk stuff.
Yeah, well, everyone's just using Jupiter. It's
true.
Mass adoption of swaps. Yeah.
I mean, when you have a lot of liquidity, it kind of works, right? Like if you don't have like a huge slippage, because the slippage is what make you like not using, like if you don't have a crazy slippage, then the limit orders are basically doing the same thing, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's another thing. Like slippage doesn't exist when placing limit orders either.
True. True.
Yeah.
But no, we can start to see that on Blur with like when you have like people like basically, I want to buy a Giga at 8.3, 8.4, 8.5. That's cool. We're getting there.
I mean, you're technically messing. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. That you are interacting with basically an order book when you list and when you have different market makers within like a tensor, right? You can see that their kind of order book style. If you go in like that pro mode, and you see where there people have that buying orders and people have listings that are kind of selling orders, right?
Yeah, exactly right. That's absolutely true. And Tensor's doing, I think I like Tensor the most because they are starting to condition people into using an exchange again. And I want to pat them on the back and say thank you, because the Solana users are now really starting to understand like what's going on and what they need to do.
Yeah, that was the strategy to go top, like to power user to the bottom, right? So it's gonna help everyone to catch up with those advanced features. Yeah, it's cool. So when Giga DAO on top, bro?
Yeah, look, honestly, it's been a rough journey to say the least. Our biggest issues have been the our resources, people that are working with us. It was such a challenge, when we first started, and it's also like the challenge of being in the startup as well. But I think that the beautiful thing about the time it's taken for us to build out what we need to build is that we have been able to watch the market during this stage.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it's a blessing in disguise, because instead of being in a live environment and being reactive to what's going on around us, we are focusing on building a polished product, but also watching the market. And the market has changed drastically in the last 6 months. NFT volume is down. We had this massive shitcoin season. We still haven't seen a lot of that liquidity come back to NFTs. And so not being reactive and spending most of our time working on a live environment has allowed us to kind of take a step back and look at what do we really need to do next in order to kind of dominate this decentralized industry. And 2 weeks ago, we kind of had another genius idea. I can't talk about it too much, but we're currently now developing what we believe is going to be an absolute dominator for this industry. And it's likely going to work, and it's likely going to put us in a position where we'll be able to expand exponentially. It's like sneaky tactics. I think some people aren't going to like us for doing it, but it's perfect and it makes complete sense. And it's like, if you want to dominate, you have to kill it every time.
Exactly. Break the timeline, bro.
And yeah, It's good. I think we'll be releasing more. The technicalities, like what we're about to take on, is a monstrous task. The technicalities of what we're trying to do is massive, and it's not been done before. I think that if we're able to build out the core infrastructure of what we need to, then we can start telling people what's about to happen. We have to prove it first. We believe it's possible, but it's a massive undertaking. It's much bigger than anything we've done previously.
Nice.
Yo, man, I'm gonna hold my
beautiful.
loot box tight.
Let's go.
Since our conversation, I've still held on to that same loot box since like 3 Soul Floor.
Do you have nets?
Perfect. Yeah. Anyone that got in then was having a good time. That yeah.
That is for sure. And
I was not in control of that at all. Like that just kind of exploded and it did what it did. I'm just like, holy shit, this is now a lot of pressure for us. Fortunately, it has stabilized a little bit and we're able to continue doing what we're doing. But yeah, it was a good time and a lot of excitement.
Yeah, sorry about this. My light went out. I unplugged it on accident. I hadn't had the whole setup. It's all ruined. No, but I want to thank you for that because after we had because our first show together was when it was still in development, right? We still only had loot boxes. Nerds haven't came out yet, and I remember that big run. Like me and Oribe were getting all these praises for having you guys on because they got their loot boxes and y'all ran up. There's like, oh my gosh, thank you for talking to Giga DAO. that was really awesome. I gotta thank you for that. We were revered as these DeFi.
It was one of those bittersweet moments because there was a lot of people that were thanking me, and then after that, there was a lot of people that were hating me.
Yeah.
So it's like, I made. I think Tate says it the most. Like, in order to make money, you've got to take money from someone else. And it's like so many people made money from loot boxes, which is great, but all those people that bought those loot boxes off them are like, what the fuck? What are you doing to my floor price? Where's my money gone? Like, I can't control the market. This is you guys doing this, not me. So it was bittersweet. I'm glad that a lot of people could enjoy that and take advantage of what was going on. And I just hope that the people now that are forced to diamond hand can keep going and persevere that little bit longer, because I will get it back up there. You can take my word for it; it will happen.
What's the plan to get it back there?
Absolute domination of everything. Yeah, yeah.
No, that's the thing is nobody came back to got mad at me because I mean, since we're obviously a DeFi deal, it was like they have that long term receptacles because being just in DeFi and kind of having that same thought process as I do, that Solana DeFi is just a drop in the bucket of what the potential it has to be and what I'm sure that it will be in the very near future. So I'm pretty sure Henry was I can't see my phone over there, but he was in the audience. I know he had one. I'm pretty sure he still has it like 95%.
Nice.
It's like,
I think my last comment on loot boxes is the best thing about it is that the majority of people bought it to put in their vault. And so even now there's less than 50 listed. There's not a lot of volume there, which probably explains that. But for the most part, I think when we are ready to pop off, the loot boxes are really going to start following that too, because at the end of the day, most people, they have it locked away in a vault. They don't plan on selling it anytime soon. So the circulating supply is always going to be low. And it always was previously as well, which is why they popped off so much. So, and for me, the collections that we have, I hold them dear to my heart as well. Our loot boxes were an OG collection that we had over 1.5 years ago, and I want to take them with me. So, even if the NFT floor price does not represent the success of Giga DAO, I'll make sure that those holding it will join us on that journey as well, because we couldn't have done it without them.
That's awesome, man. Spoken like a true founder, a true bullish founder, nonetheless, man. And that kind of segues perfectly into, we talked about it for a second, but kind of what has been I had it written down as what are the most unique challenges, but what's kind of been the biggest challenges you say, and it could be still what's been unique to Giga DAO has been y'all's biggest challenge.
Our biggest challenge,
Yes.
I would have to say, from a personal experience, it's the people sourcing and finding the right the guys to join the team. Um, for me personally, that it has been the hardest task. We went through quite a lot of developers this year. Unfortunately, a lot of them aren't with us today because we had to be cutthroat about it. Um, and it was like sad and disappointing to see. And I won't, they've all been really good guys. They all worked really hard, but unfortunately, there were times when they just didn't work hard, and that kind of let us down the most. As a startup, really early on, we have groundbreaking technology, and we need to rely on each other. And unfortunately, there were just some guys that we could not rely on. The good news about all this is we found a shining star out of all of that. ADAB has been absolutely crushing it. He's come in out of nowhere, this young guy, prodigy, loves just learning code, and he's just been learning while writing code and just smashing out amazing products for us. And so he's kind of like a mini alpha, and I'm so very happy to have him there. So it's been really cool what we've done and managed to achieve in the last few months that people haven't seen is we cut down on our costs. We've established a more cleaner code base, something that we can build upon faster. And we've just established like this really great team dynamic. So our biggest challenge was definitely people sourcing and finding the right guys for the task. And we very quickly realized it's not about having a lot of developers. It's about having skilled people that know what they're doing. And so we went from 8 developers down to 4 within a month.
What?
Because, yeah, well, I mean, I did go on a spree,
Yeah.
but I set challenges for these guys, and I laid it out pretty simple. Like, we're a startup. This is what we need to do. We need killers. If you can't kill, then like you can't work with us. And so, unfortunately, it is one of those things. But at the same time, we've kind of grown past that now. We've managed to build up this great team dynamic. We're all working 7 days a week. Dev Kitty, our front end developer, I've been working with him now for a year and a half. He like we don't talk much personal. We just work, go. And he had a kid back in February. I didn't even know his partner was pregnant. So he's still with us 7 days a week. He's putting in 8 to 10 hours a day while managing a newborn child, and he's a killer. I love him so much. He does great work. So we're in a great place now, and I think our only challenge right now is to continue to find that product market fit. But I think if that's our only challenge, then we'll be able to smash it out.
And where do you think, like, what's of the clues that you have right now, like, to find this product market fit? What works the best right now?
In what, finding that information and
Yeah,
understanding?
what are like the signal that you have with your application and stuff that you are on the way to finding this product market fit?
Yeah, I mean, so a big part of what I do is making sure that we're heading in the right direction. So while my guys are coding and building out, I'm developing like next steps and trying to understand what's coming next. And it's all about research, like what has worked well for everyone else. Tensor absolutely smashed it out of the park by starting off as an aggregator and then providing in an underlying marketplace of their own. And with that upgraded UI, they really managed to kind of dominate the market that way. Magic Eden is now doing the same thing. So in understanding product market fit, you just have to keep looking and researching and understanding what is working, what isn't working. And sometimes you can get blindsided by what is working, but it's only working because that's the only solution that's being offered right now. Is it working because they've delivered something really innovative and something that works, or is it working because it's filling a gap that no one else is filling? And so it's like you have to be able to identify those things because you can get distracted really quickly and you think, all right, this is actually working right now. This is what we need to do. But in reality, there's nothing innovative there. And so if you were to try and replicate that, you end up being like a copy paster of Magic Eden. And so you have to like think beyond that, like that's working, but what are their flaws? What are their gaps? And figure out how you can kind of upgrade and innovate in that space. And so that's what we've been doing. We've been focusing on trying to figure that out and work that out. We believe we've got it now.
That's cool.
Once we can prove it, then we're ready to go.
Let's fucking go. So what
You know,
got,
you know
what,
what's
go for it.
no, sorry about that. What's what's funny about that is that sometimes those opportunities are just in plain sight, or they can kind of fall in your lap. I was listening to um, the decoder stream with, and I forget what his name was, but from Tensor, he was basically saying, well, what was his name? So we can give him a shout out. Sting, yeah. And he was talking about basically how Magic Eden, they didn't want to create a full out marketplace, so Magic Eden forced their hand because of the API issues, right? And that led them to having the marketplace that they do now. So it's that, honestly, that quote kind of stuck with me when I was listening to that, because I'm like, there's a lot of these things that are like in your face, like as as a founder, I'm just thinking about how like some of these issues and some of the things that can be easily addressed that can take you to the next level is sometimes right in front of you, but you just kind of have to open your eyes and kind of take that next step. And so, and even going back to what you said before about finding good people, I think that goes hand in hand with it. But also, I'm pretty sure you would say the same thing, is that experience, being able to find and gain those different filters of how you know, okay, this is someone who I know that I can trust and I can work with, and just that overall judgment of people. Like that's been kind of the biggest thing for me, because we launched 13 months ago, and obviously you guys were back in February. So having that time in the market and being that kind of startup feel, being able to better judge people and have that mentality that you're looking for has been an awesome experience for me. And that sounds like it's been a really awesome experience for you, even though there's obviously been some costs and different things.
It's bad lessons, but good to learn them early.
Yeah.
No, good lessons. I don't know. I had a whole phrase for that. Anyway, the point is, like, I'd rather go through these pains really, really early on than find out, 2 years down the line, and when we're in a live environment making money, and all of a sudden, like, fuck, I wasn't expecting this. So the best part about it is, I think we had like such a short period of time where everything went wrong, and we've able to kind of learn our lessons from that and make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah. I mean, like hiring people and like the right person at the right place, it's the hardest thing you can do while building your business. Because again, like you're building a plane while you are already in the air, right? So it's even harder to do that with some people you don't even know and you hired last week, and they have to be efficient like yesterday. So, and even like doing that, like onboarding, like, I don't know, like 8 developers in a month, like, bro, that's hard.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we did it well,
yeah,
and it was planned well, but just they didn't have that killer instinct. So
I mean, it's
and
not bad person, it's just not the right fit at the right company, and they can find a job somewhere else, and getting there, it's fine. It's just culture fit.
Yeah, I know this is kind of turned into more of like startup talk, but I love talking about this startup and business type of talk. And it's also when thinking about hiring different people, like I'm going through this right now. Someone I just really like, and who's just kind of giving his help on the side right now. But I know eventually that the incentives have to line up for people to absolutely be all in on you all the time, right? Like it's honestly someone I know in real life, right? And his marketing background, known for a really long time, and he's within the space. But it's like incentives also have to line up for people, and there's all these different rules about don't hire your friends, right? Or don't hire XYZ. It's a really unique process in that, and I think it's the different incentives, especially during a startup where you don't have all the funds in the world, and revenue, especially in Web3, revenue is not set in stone. That's for damn sure here. Is something that can be really tough to navigate. And I think a unique lesson that not very many people, even normal startups, have to deal with, kind of unique to Web3.
Yeah, you want to look for experts that are willing to work on minimum wage, because then you know they're in it for the long haul. They're like,
That's true.
I'll work for nothing now as long as we can make cash money later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Daily gratification, and then you're gonna be like deca millionaire in your time when like Giga DAO will be successful. It makes sense.
Yeah, exactly right. It's an investment for them as well. So
Exactly. It makes sense, bro. And we completely derail out of your talking point, Ash.
It's all good. I really don't even. What was the original point? Maybe we
I have
can
no
move
idea,
back
bro.
there to my next thing. Yeah, I mean, let's see if we can. I think honestly, I think it derailed from even order books. We got
yeah,
all the way to here.
I'm so good at digressing.
That's
Yeah,
good,
no,
bro.
it's great talk and something that I think a lot of
It,
people will be interested to hear, because I think there's a lot of different. I mean, people don't really see ever the background behind
okay.
Web3 and hiring, and even the most top projects. Most of the time, you have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. Like we saw with what happened with DeGods. All of a sudden, there had to be some changes, and we have no idea why. Still, nobody saw that coming. So the kind of the structure behind Web3 businesses, especially in startup phases, and even entirely. I mean, we see FTX supposed to be an established company, and that just falls out of nowhere. It's Web3, and it's truly the Wild West. So I think it's something that's not talked about very much at all. That I find very.
That's why we created the channel, bro, to get like the basics, or not even the basic label, but like what's behind the hood of like Web3 companies and projects.
Yeah, man, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Fucking decoders for the win, man. Yeah, no.
Let's go.
Decoders. One thing, kind of coming back, linking back to Giga DAO, I think about our conversation that we had, and obviously that was a long time ago, and things shift a whole bunch. But you had a big emphasis on me on the DAO governance and the emphasis on DAOs, or your DAO, excuse me, within Giga DAO. Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I won't spend too much time on it because DAO talk generally turns people off. I found anyway. But our core thesis is that we don't own our product. We work for the DAO, and the DAO has ownership. So our upgrade authority basically sits on top of our smart contracts, and it basically controls the IP, and that upgrade authority is controlled through our token. So in order to make changes, upgrades to that, the DAO actually has to vote on it. And essentially, what that does is it turns our token into a share. You own part of the company through this code, because code is law. And I won't go into it too much because it does turn people off. I'll tell you that right now. Piece of advice: don't talk about DAO or DAO infrastructure on any public space. But we're very, very, very motivated by the technologies and the possibilities that this could turn into. And for us, it's a very big part of our model and how we function, and what actually brings value to our NFTs and our token is the complete ownership of our entire business. So how Alpha and I see it is we work for Giga DAO now, and that's all it's going to be. Obviously, we're the key components of this business and how it runs, but at the end of the day, our vision must be accepted by the DAO in order to continue forward. So we're very transparent with them. They know everything that's going on behind the scenes. They see our struggles, our strengths. They know everything. They have kind of the same control that we do. And we like that. We want to keep pushing it forward. All of last year, we spent most of our time kind of developing the best DAO infrastructure and how it should work and how it should operate in the future. And I think we're still always going to be in a good position to implement that, because we're not trying to innovate just on the technology that can be implemented, but we're trying to innovate on how it can actually be structured and how it can work. And we've got a lot of stuff going on there, and that'll kind of get deployed as we go. Our key focus obviously is the DEX and trying to bring this decentralized trading world to life. But in the background, we are continuing to develop and improve on how our DAO core DAO thesis can continue forward and how we can implement that to the real world.
And is the DAO treat you well?
They're very supportive, much more supportive of NFT general chat. That's for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah, maybe I should shift the next question to talk about the win revenue share of loot boxes. How about that?
Look, I've got to go all of a sudden. No, I mean, that'll all get driven out. It will all come into play. I think for us, like, I don't even think about it because I know it's going to happen. But at the same time, you know, I don't have my life savings in this. So I know a lot of people ask those questions, and they ask, you know, when floor price up, when revenue share, when are we going to see something? And I definitely drown out most of it at this stage because it can be unhealthy to talk about all the time. I just say, like, you're either in it to support Alpha and I, who have currently the best technology in Solana, a use case for the blockchain, or you're in it to just try and make some short money. You're either supportive or GTFO. We need to work. We need to get this done, and there's no distractions. So everything will come into play, and everything will play out as designed, especially now with this new direction that we're going to go. But it's kind of like you work with us or you work against us. There's no in between anymore.
Yeah,
That's cool. That domination, total domination, like we talked about.
Got to be cutthroat.
Exactly. I like it. It's cool.
Well, man, it's, you know, Vince.
Go for it.
I was going to say, you know, we touched on so many different things, from business structures of Web3 startups to obviously everything in between with Giga DAO and how Giga DAO kind of comes in through that. The final question I kind of have for you, because I think it's one of the biggest bottlenecks within especially any decentralized platform, is how you guys, you know, I saw in the docs how you guys plan on this fiat on-ramp, off-ramp implementation.
Yeah. So it's getting a lot easier, to be honest with you. When I first started researching it, I'm like, damn, this is a big undertaking. But there's so many different companies right now trying to do the same thing, and it's making the market very competitive, that the process in actually implementing an on-ramp and off-ramp now is quite easy, and the fees that come with it are getting lower and lower with each new company that attempts to do it. So I was speaking with West 57th yesterday, actually. Those founders are really cool. They're based in Australia. Canadian guys, going to be Australian citizens soon. So I love to represent them. They've created an off-ramp, which is seamless and beautiful. And I'm so happy that it's been created and implemented. So we're hoping to work with them over the next couple of months in implementing that off-ramp on GigaDex as well. On-ramps are much more complicated because you have to have buy-in from centralized institutions, centralized banks, to be able to actually transfer your fiat into crypto, not using a regulated exchange like Binance and CoinSpot and all these other places. So on-ramp can be a bit more tricky, but there's so many people currently trying to tackle that I think within the next 2-3 months, we're going to see some real usable applications that are just quick plugins that anyone can implement. You know, Stripe exists at the moment. They're probably the most competitive in this space, especially because Magic Eden has been boosting them for so long. But there are now other competitors coming up that are making that making that process easier with less fees. And so it actually is not as much of a challenge as what I thought it would be. It's just about implementation.
Yeah, I'm glad the days of having to go through about 3 different mediums to actually get fiat is over. But okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But like, just a quick question, like, do you know like how much volume do you need to do on like Giga DAO, like, to be sustainable?
I mean, we have an idea in mind It's not that much. So we have been working to reduce our server fees and our overheads over the last few months, and we cut it down by like 50%, and we can go even lower than that by migrating our services to more sustainable, less data eating platforms. So for us, it's actually a really low number to be sustainable. And I think it's very achievable within, the first couple of months of actually launching the DEX. Which is good. So our profit margins are going to be high. As soon as we manage to hit even 10% of the market, we're going to be in a really, really good place.
When lunch?
Sick.
Lunch is in an hour.
Let's go. Let's go.
No, the launch is coming. We had to migrate all of our old legacy smart contracts over. So we managed to do that last night. We're now cleaning it up, and we're pretty much ready to go. Cool. It's when I decide. But I like to make people squirm, so we'll see.
It works well for the last few months.
Yeah. I'm a terrible founder.
That's good. Yeah.
No, man.
No,
two final questions, and then we can wrap up. So we ask this to everybody that comes on. But what do you see in Solana DeFi's future and outside of Giga DAO? What you look forward to most within the Solana DeFi ecosystem?
I think the number one thing I look forward to, and I know is going to happen, is the adoption of retail traders is going to be massive. What Solana is putting in place now to accommodate for new users, for retail traders, is massive. Everything that's being implemented and being built right now, we've got massive volume on Solana already, especially in SPL tokens, hundreds of millions of dollars per week, which is massive already. But the fact that there's so many people working towards implementing easy, smooth, digestible platforms and services, that once the next bull run does come along, Solana's not going to have any problem getting the user acquisition, because it's always going to be simple and it's always going to be easy, which is why I'm so bullish on Solana. And it's not just the blockchain itself, it's the people that are running it, and it's the people that are building on it, creating something so sustainable, easy to use. We're in such a really good position to kind of be on top as early adopters of such a reliable blockchain.
Let's go, man. Getting all the Solana maxis hyped up. That's what I like to see. All right, and then finally, what are 3 key points you'd like the audience to take away tonight?
3 key points, takeaways.
It could just be key points. This doesn't have to be 3. It could be 1. It could be 5.
I guess the 3 words that come to mind is like our roadmap for the next 3 months, which is I got this. Hang on. Aggregate ARB leverage. That's our key focus and our prime drivers right now in completely dominating this market. Aggregate ARB leverage.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, that's deep, man. That's something to get the people going. That's for sure.
But if you want something more digestible, let's go. Let's fucking go. There you go.
Let's go.
All right, man. Well, it looks like we are just on time, a minute past the hour. Bilak, right? Is that the correct pronunciation?
Yeah. You can call me whatever you want. That's fine. Bilak, it's all good.
It's been an awesome time. I think there's just so much valuable information that came out of this, not only about Giga DAO, but from Web3 and Solana DeFi entirely. And that's kind of what the main purpose of this show is.
Yes, so
I appreciate that greatly, man. It's been an awesome time. You guys know where to find Bilak at. His yes. Twitter is. I retweeted it. I made sure to tag him in the spaces, or not in the spaces, because I couldn't find it then. But it's definitely in Divine Dog's tweet, and obviously Giga DAO is in that.
And I will edit the description of the stream with like the correct information. So you will find all of the Belag and Giga DAO links in the YouTube description after the stream, because it was not the right video.
Guys, thank you so much for having me on today. It's been a blast, and I've really enjoyed this. And I look forward to the next one in 6 months' time, where we're all on an island. Maybe we're all sitting down in front of a panel together, just enjoying the success of Giga DAO and Giga DEX.
Bro, like for the lunch at Giga DAO in 6 months.
Don't be like that.
But bro, you can come back whenever you want. Just DM us and we will do that again. It doesn't need to be like a DeFi Decoded or like episode, or it can be anything that you want on the channel, on Space, on the Divine Dog show. Whenever. You're home, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. And then in that 6 months, if we're on a beach, you can go ahead and fly us out. You know, the tickets will be on you.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Just make sure you hold a loot box, otherwise you're not getting a flight.
But thank you so much, man. Dash, do you want to wrap it up?
Yeah.
Oh, did we do that?
What's already been said is everything that needs to be said. Appreciate you, B-Lock. I appreciate you, Vince, every week. Next week, just to remind everybody, me and Vince will have our monthly DeFi education stream next Friday, the 2nd. So subscribe up for that. As always, next week, Wednesday, we'll have that back, and perhaps we'll have P2 Moo. P2 Moo is we've been kind of arguing him with the times, but also he's been going through a lot of really exciting stuff on his side. So give him that space as well.
Thank you so much, guys.
Appreciate you guys. Awesome.
That was cool. Cheers.
Again.
Thank you so much, everyone in the audience. Thank you for attending the stream and the space. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Description will be edited. You can find and follow Belag. Thank you so much. See you in the next stream, and bye-bye.